All right. Hello and good morning. This is video 915, and I kind of look like I have a beard, don't I? Look like a dwarf or something. Yeah, real quick, very short, very short. Um, Over the weekend at the Conservative Action, uh, I don't even know what it stands for. Conservative Action Convention or whatever it is. uh the hurrah hurrah for the GOP pep rally. Um, Apparently, one of the attendees, one of the speakers, talked about the eradication of transgender people, and then once that kind of got out, they said it. It was da 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 da, and people applauded them for it, and it kind of got out, and then they're like, "Oh no, I didn't say that." I meant this, okay, which is just as bad. Whatever he said next, and I guess for those of us who um, are transgender, it's kind of like uh, it's someone calling for your death, and I, I've kind of like thought about it, and I'm like, how uh, how should I react to that? How should I, like, to me, it's very crazy talk. Like, someone saying, the earth is flat. It's, uh, it's crazy talk, but it is scary talk because it's me and you and us. And instead of kind of being in the back door, back alley, behind closed doors type thing, this is their selling point. This is their, you know, uh, they're telling you what they believe in. They're telling you what they're gonna do, and here's the moment where uh, the people say, no, we're not gonna, you know, you're wrong. You shouldn't do that. That's wrong. Killing people is wrong. That's kind of what's supposed to happen, in the movies and in the books you read, and it's the people come together and support each other, and that's not happening. you know, and as we saw in Kentucky, like, for years, all of this anti-transgender stuff, and people just kind of dismissed it. Oh, that's crazy talk, or I don't know. They didn't care. It didn't show up on the radar, and uh, laws were passed, and now it's illegal in Kentucky to do blah 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 transgender. Um, don't say gay, all that other stuff, assuming that it makes it past the governor's desk where he doesn't get overridden. And so on the one hand, it's like, well, that's crazy talk. That'll never happen. And then you're like, well, wait a minute, we just saw this happen. Do I feel like secret police will come and take me away? No. But the fact that no one is, none of my friends, and I mean none of my friends, uh, none of my, none of my cis friends have said, well, I think that's wrong. None of my cis friends have said, gee, Karen, how you feeling? How does this, um, it's like, if someone said we need to kill all the black people, uh, there would be non-black people who would say that's wrong, but that's not happening, you know? And I guess I'm beginning to realize that I kind of call it a miasma. That's really not what it is, but it's like um, it's a feeling that I have that the world doesn't care about me. My friends don't care about me, and it's just like another layer of, I don't want to say mediocrity, but another layer of oppression, another layer of knowing that the world is pushing against you, you know? Uh, Not like being paranoid, but I mean, paranoia is there not being evidence of it actually. It's the feeling of being, but there's no real evidence of it because if it's provable, then it's not paranoia. Whereas this is, I mean, it's something that's happening. And so I'm trying to balance, how do I react? Am I overreacting? Da 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 da. But it is, it amazes me again. I haven't had anybody who's not part of the trans community, nothing, you know? And that does kind of wear on me a little bit, you know? Um, and maybe it's just a matter of, I have always been, um, I've never had anybody, I've never had anybody like be interested in my life and what I needed and what I wanted. My parents were not. My mom kinda to a degree, but because of my parents' divorce, my mom wasn't around, when I was 12, 13, 14. My mom wasn't in my life for a good 8 years. My mom wasn't in my life until I was about 22, 23. And so because of that, we didn't have that period of bonding that, like you're a child, you become a young adult, you have that. I have cis friends who their parents talk to them and do stuff with them, and I don't have that, and I know that's like a default in my life. Like I miss it. It's a depression. It's a void, and so I maybe overreach, and I may ask a friend genuinely, "How are you doing? How is this? How did that work out for you? You said this, and how did it pan out?" Um, I have a genuine interest that's not, um, it's not a tit for tat. I think it's an unconditional love. It's an unconditional interest. But I really do. I think about people and I'm like, well, how are they doing? How did this work out? Um, and I don't have that in my life with my cis friends. And to a degree, even my trans friends. But I kind of look at it as, everyone has their own life, and there's only so many hours in a day. Da 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 da. But none of the people I play D&D with, gee, I saw that. So and so is said they want to kill you, and I'm so sorry that you're feeling. How are you doing? Are you okay? Is there anything you need? And I don't. It's very hard for me to accept. You know. When I grew up, I felt like, if I was to transition, I wouldn't have any friends, and uh, um, some of that is becoming true. And I don't know if my expectations are unrealistic. Like I said, um, we all have our own things. We all have, like I said, I'm not complaining about my friends. It's an observation about the people, my cis friends. If I have a friend who's a veteran, okay, I'll put it this way. I feel like I'm talking about me a lot, and I don't want to make this me centric, but I have a friend who's a veteran. I have a couple friends who are veterans, but he was a tanker. He was a tank driver, and he was in Afghanistan. Um, and so the thing came out about the burn pits and service people overseas, and that was like in this part of the news area. So my thought was, oh my gosh, was he exposed? How is he doing? So I wanted to ask and see how he was. How did you think about, I mean, it's like I am interested in how other people are doing in response to these events that happen in the world, and that's not being done back to me, you know. And maybe it's just because they don't know. I don't know. They don't know that someone said we need to kill all the transgender people. But there's no, like I said, there's uh no one has said how you doing. No one has said, "Gee, I'm sorry." You know what I mean? And I think I don't know if my expectations are off kilter. And then the other thing is that um I've not seen it on the news. I know about stuff because of other transgender people have posted it, but why isn't NBC News? Why isn't CBS News? Why aren't the news programs covering that this guy just called for the killing of da 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 da? You know, um, I guess it's just it's another reminder. Back to the idea of the miasma. It's just another reminder about how low on the totem pole, how low on the radar our struggles are, you know, and yet that is happening. People are not interested in it. Uh, being nice to people, I guess, doesn't sell laundry powder, laundry detergent, ad revenue, and yet, um, the same thing with the laws I didn't see anything on my local news um, about the bills that were passed in Frankfurt. I live in Indiana at Exit Zero, but I didn't see anything on my nightly news about it. I didn't see anything on the NBC News. You know what I mean? It's like we don't have value at a level that's going to get attention, and yet at the same time we do have value to the politicians who are passing laws against us we have a value in a different way, because the more they abuse us and kick us, the more support they get from their constituents who also hate transgender people. You know what I'm saying? So it back to the idea that miasma, that it just makes me less satisfied, less happy, and it adds to that difference between, you know, a cis person and a trans person. Our experiences of the world is so, that's where there's a difference. That's where there's a difference. And I don't know. I don't know if my expectations are off. Uh, it's been a shitty month for me. Um, Shitty couple months. I've been reminded on a lot of different levels and a lot of different places that you know, I just don't have value. I don't have, uh, not that I had gravitas before, but I don't have. I mean, and this is going to be really selfish, but I kind of had a feeling of maybe not going to D&D this weekend. I play in a D&D game. I've played it's a bi-weekly game, and maybe not going and just seeing if anybody notices. You know, if I was to say, I'm sorry, I just don't feel, uh, I don't feel like celebrating. I don't feel like participating. Would that trigger Jesus, Karen okay? Is she all right? Is she, I mean, I don't, I'm not saying that to be malicious or, but how much do people really care about me? How much do people, uh, if I wasn't here, what would happen? You know what I mean? I don't know. But it's kind of like a dull sadness. Like I said, this miasma is just it's just another, I'm realizing how not insignificant, but just how ignorable I guess I am, and how little, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, growing up when I was in college, and I saw parents interact with their children, my friends, I was like, oh my God, parents do that. Parents ask you how you're doing. I never had that with my folks. My parents, my dad and my stepmom didn't care, didn't know, didn't really want to know what I was up to, what I was interested in. And so maybe I crave that attention now. I don't know. But anyway, don't want to dwell too long on it, but it is very surreal and very odd to have someone call for your death and a room full of people applaud it, and then it doesn't get negative attention. You know, I don't get it. I don't get it. I always wondered growing up about Nazi Germany, and about how did Hitler get to be in power and create the Third Reich, and people not stop him. But the pictures of Nuremberg, not Nuremberg, Auschwitz, and the other concentration camps. Um, it's not like they built the concentration camp away, in a desolate area that nobody ever went, right outside of a concentration camp, are buildings, houses, normal, cottages and schools and shopping centers. And I mean, Germany, I mean, they didn't try to hide it. And that to me is like, I'm seeing the same thing happening here very publicly. We need to kill all the transgender people. And people are like, oh, well, that's a crazy idea. But then the laws get passed, and there's nothing we can do about it because they don't care. It hurts. It hurts you. We're human beings. We get hurt. I'm hurt. Uh, but I'm kind of numb too at the moment. So anyway, just making a video. Hang in there. I don't think this is gonna last. I've said that before. Um, you know, I think a couple more years. I hope. uh, you know, I'm curious to see. My hope for next year is that um, kind of what I'm calling Trumpism. I hope that kind of dies off. Um, McCarthyism died off. It was very prevalent for a couple years, and then people got tired of it, and somehow then it became, oh, that's McCarthyism. Trumpism may be the same way, and 4 or 6 years from now, it'll be in the past. But for the moment, it just kind of sucks. Yeah. All right. Till next time. Bye bye. Good luck in being your authentic self.